Continuing our division previews and best bets videos, and today we are previewing the AFC North. Ninja here with Tony Farmer for Oddshark. Welcome to the channel. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Let us know your favorite AFC North bet in the comments section below. It's more of a mini preview. I'll say we are quickly taking a look at each division and breaking down our favorite futures bets involving each team. So every time with these videos, Tony, I ask you at the beginning, so this time, no different. If you had one word to explain the 2025 AFC North, what is that word?
I'm going to say competitive. 3 of the 4 teams in this division are potential playoff teams. They're really good. And then the one basement dweller, the Browns, played the playoff Steelers really tough last year. They beat them. They played the Ravens tough last year, even though the Ravens were a playoff team. They beat them. So there's no layups in this division. It's a black and blue division. We know we're going to see good competitive football when they play each other. So competitive is my word.
Let's start with division win totals here real quick. These are from FanDuel, and we are recording this video at the end of July, so there could be some variance throughout the rest of the summer. But the Baltimore Ravens, 11.5 wins. The over on that one at -130. The Cincinnati Bengals are next up at 9.5 wins for 2025. The over there, -110. Next up, the Pittsburgh Steelers at 8.5 wins. And then finally, it is the Cleveland Browns at 5.5 wins with the over at +125. So if you feel good about the Browns in 2025, over has a nice price attached to it at this stage. At the end, we will recap the video with our final division order. We'll get into our favorite picks here for these 4 teams in a moment. But let me ask you this, Tony. I need a state of the union on the Cincinnati Bengals, specifically on the defensive side of things. Is it going to be the same old shortcomings holding the Bengals back? Or is this unit going to be good enough to get Joe Burrow and this offense into the playoffs once again?
I have the Bengals penciled in as a playoff team, but not because of the defense. I think that they may make the playoffs in spite of their defense. As you alluded to, it wasn't a very good unit last year, and they lost Sam Hubbard. They lost Jermaine Pratt. They lost Mike Hilton. They lost Sheldon Rankins. And they haven't really replaced these guys via the draft or free agency with a lot of talent. So there's some holes. There's some big-time question marks on this defense. They replaced Lou Anarumo, their defensive coordinator, with Al Golden, the defensive coordinator from Notre Dame. I would argue that's probably going to be a downgrade. They replaced Sheldon Rankins with TJ Slayton. Pro Football Focus will tell you that's a massive downgrade on the defensive line. And then at linebacker, Jermaine Pratt leaves, and you replace him with a second-round rookie. We'll see how the rookie pans out. Could be an upgrade, but could also very much be another downgrade when you replace a veteran with a rookie. So there's a lot of question marks on this defense. And oh yeah, by the way, that secondary that was really bad last year, they lose one of their best players in Hilton. They haven't replaced them with anybody. So yeah, I got a lot of concerns about this Bengals defense coming into the season.
Making me feel even better about my Bengals futures pick, which we will get into in a moment. But let's get into the picks here. We'll just go in order of the win total. So I will start with the Cleveland Browns. We'll go from worst to best. Easily one of the worst teams in the NFL. So much so that Sportsbook don't even offer as much betting opportunity with this team like other teams around the league. But I did find a decent little wager over at DraftKings, and it is this. The Cleveland Browns under 1.5 wins for their longest winning streak in 2025 at +140. Basically, they have to tap out at 1 win. And as one of the worst teams in the league, just who exactly is this team going to be? So they open against Cincy, and we all know how badly the Bengals like to play early on in the season. But then in week 2, if they win week 1 against Cincinnati by some miracle, in week 2, they're at Baltimore. They're at the Raiders in week 12, but then they have to go and play the Niners the following week. They have a stretch from week 7 to week 10 where they go against Miami, then they're at New England, then they have a bye week, and then they come out of that bye and they are at the Jets. So this is really the only rough patch for this prop bet that I have, where it might become undone. But personally, I like the Patriots in 2025, so I think they can disrupt anything that Cleveland does in there. And then obviously there's issues up and down the roster, but the QB situation, not great. I mean, it's Joe Flacco and a couple other rookies behind him, Dylan Gabriel, Shadur Sanders, and maybe they pan out and one of them can become the definitive number 1 QB in Cleveland. But even so, stringing together wins for this Browns team is going to be incredibly, incredibly tough. So under 1.5 wins for their longest win streak in 2025. Let's go to the Pittsburgh Steelers next, Tony. What do you like with the black and gold?
I've got the Steelers over 8.5 wins this year, plus 105 over at FanDuel. We've seen Mike Tomlin with mediocre rosters overachieve and get over 500. This isn't a mediocre roster, though. He's actually got a really good roster from top to bottom here. You've got Darius Slay, Jalen Ramsey at the cornerback positions. Andrew, is there a better cornerback tandem in the NFL? And oh yeah, Joey Porter is an up-and-coming star, we hope. That's now a trio of good cornerbacks for the Steelers. And then that front seven, Alex Highsmith, Patrick Queen, TJ Watt, Cam Hayward. They bring in Derek Harmon from Oregon, 21st overall pick. Defensive tackle who had 34 QB pressures. Can you imagine if they're getting interior pressure on that defensive line with Highsmith and Watt on the outside? This defense can be absolutely lethal this year. But I think the reason that season win total is so low and a lot of people are down on the Steelers is the Aaron Rodgers factor. We see he did not look good with the Jets last season. But let me throw this out there. They were a playoff team last season with Russell Wilson and Justin Fields at quarterback. So if Rodgers can give you somewhat equal caliber play, which I think he can, with that defense on the field, I think the Steelers are once again a 9 or 10 win team this season.
So because of that, and because of that thinking, correct me if I'm wrong, but you must think the Steelers are going to play an integral part in survivor pools in 2025, right?
Absolutely. I mean, if you think about what you're trying to do in a survivor pool, you need to have 18 different teams that you can trust. And when you rank the Steelers, whether it's power rankings or you just look at what the sports books are throwing out there with season win totals, the Steelers are right around expected to be the 18th, 19th, or 20th best team in the NFL. So if you can squeak by and get a Steelers win on your survivor pool resume this season, you're going to be feeling pretty good. Here's the problem, though. They have a tough schedule. There's only 2 obvious times that you might consider using the Steelers, and that's week 6 against the Browns and week 9 against the Colts. Week 6 against the Browns is particularly interesting, okay? Because it's going to be the Browns' 3rd straight road game, including a game in London, and the Steelers are going to be coming off of a bye. So in terms of a spot, that's a great spot to use a team like the Steelers, who a lot of people consider to be kind of a middling team.
Over to the Cincinnati Bengals now, and I'm on under 9.5 wins with this team. This is plus 115 over at DraftKings. There are absolute superstars on this team, no question. But beyond that, this roster is kind of dire, and you touched on it a lot already in this video, Tony. The defense can't stop anybody, and is no better this season, could even be worse, especially depending on what happens with Trey Hendrickson. That's unresolved at the time that we're sitting here doing this. The Bengals scored 27.8 points in their losses last season, which is the most in NFL history for teams that had at least 5 losses. They will score points. That offense is fantastic, but they cannot stop anybody. And you talked about the AFC North schedule. This schedule is no joke either. They have to play the NFC North all within the first 9 weeks of the season. They have to play those 4 teams. They're at Denver. They're at Buffalo. It's going to be a grind, as it normally is in the NFL with any team, with any schedule. But like one injury, and this team is done and dusted. Not to mention the offensive line stinks, the Zach Taylor question marks, and many more issues that are bubbling to the surface now with this organization and with this team. So under 9.5 wins for the Bengals in 2025. And just a reminder, if you are looking for a new book to add to your arsenal, you can visit oddshark.com/NFL/sites and get the lowdown on all of our partner books. And trust me, even if you have one book already, you got to add more to your list for NFL season. Nothing more important than giving yourself the opportunity to shop around and find the best odds or find the best price. That's oddshark.com/NFL/sites. Tony, the Baltimore Ravens, 12-5 last year, lost to Josh Allen and the Bills in the division round. But what Ravens bet do you like for 2025?
All right, this is not the most creative or original bet I've ever come up with on this show, but I'm going to go with Lamar Jackson plus 550 to win MVP this year. You can still find that over at BetMGM. I think Lamar Jackson's going to have a bit of a chip on his shoulder. By all accounts, he was an MVP quality player last year. The statistics were off the charts. A lot of people would say he deserved to win it over Josh Allen. I'm sure he feels like he deserved to win the MVP over Josh Allen. He's coming into this season. There's whispers about maybe he's not a Super Bowl quality quarterback because he lost again deep in the playoffs. Well, the MVP is a regular season award, so you don't have to worry about that. But I think Lamar Jackson, barring an injury, he's going to be one of those 2 or 3 guys that we're talking about at the end of the season that's in this MVP race. So at plus 550, that feels pretty good. And he's got a lot of continuity on offense as well. Andrews is coming back. Likely's coming back. Derrick Henry's coming back. Most of his offensive line is intact. His wide receivers are coming back. So I think he's setting himself up for a really good season. Wouldn't be surprised to see him win it. And maybe there's not going to be that voter fatigue that we saw last year. Sometimes these voters, I think they don't want to give a guy an MVP 2 times in a row. So he didn't win it last year. Maybe we see some overcorrection if there's a tie again between him and Josh Allen. Maybe voters say, Josh Allen got it last year. Let's go ahead and give it to a new quarterback this year.
You asked me when we did the AFC East preview what I thought about Josh Allen for MVP. I definitely like Lamar Jackson MVP bets a bit more than Josh Allen at this stage. Let me ask you this. You're starting an NFL franchise from scratch. Who would you pick to be your QB, Lamar or Josh Allen?
Oh my God, that is so tough. I think I got to go Josh Allen.
Ooh.
I think I've got to go Josh Allen here. The fumbling with Lamar, I think, is overlooked when we look at the stats. Yeah, I'm going to go with Josh Allen. And I know Josh Allen also doesn't have a Super Bowl, but I trust him a little more in the playoffs.
And I mean, last we saw Lamar in that division round game against Josh Allen and those Bills, the 2 turnovers, the pick and the fumble as well in that game that brought their season to an end. Okay, let's finish up here.
Week 1's going to be fun, Andrew.
Yeah, that's right.
Buffalo, Baltimore, Sunday night. That's going to be a blast.
Absolutely. I can't wait. Let's finish it up here with exact finishing order for the division. I'll go first here. I'm going to go Browns in the basement. Just a terrible, terrible football team per usual. Steelers in third. They're giving Rodgers the last hurrah, but Tomlin, like you mentioned, absolutely elite at his craft. And keep an eye on rookie Caleb Johnson out of Iowa. I think this guy is going to be a very good football player on Sundays. Very much what you expect from players that come out of Iowa. Bengals in second. We addressed already all the star power you want, but nothing beyond that. Very thin after some of those elite players. And then the Baltimore Ravens, the clear fave in the division for good reason. What say you, Tony?
I'd love to be able to disagree with you, but I've got the same order. I think the Browns are an obvious choice for 4th place. I'd be pretty shocked, in fact, if they even crawled up to 3rd. The one area where I could do some changing around a little bit is swapping 2 and 3. Wouldn't be shocked to see the Bengals defense be so bad that they slip back to 3rd and the Steelers can leapfrog them in 2nd. But gun to my head, I'm going to go ahead and say Baltimore, Cincy, Steelers, Cleveland for the top 4.